Today I'm going to be talking about Surrounded by Bad Bosses by Thomas Erickson. And if you'll recall, I reviewed another book of his back when it first came out.
Half a year ago?
No.
Wait.
Long time. Anyway, so I'm gonna read you my notes from this one. I'm gonna take these back because they're gonna go flying. All right. So, Surrounded by Bad Bosses. Page 3. William Moulton Marston's disc system has been translated into 50 languages. 80% of all people have a combination of two colors that dominate their behavior. Page 4, 5% have only one color that dominates their behavior. The rest are dominated by three colors.
And that's four color system, right?
Green or a green combined with one other color is most common. The least common is entirely red, or red combined with one other color. His colors are red, blue with a little yellow, and no green.
That's his personal colors.
Yeah. Surrounded by Idiots sold over 2.5 million copies. Page 36. Extrovert bosses rarely waste their time overanalyzing data and details and paying too much attention to those around them. They have strong egos and quickly decide what they think about an issue. This makes them natural decision makers.
Natural bad decision makers.
Yes.
It leaves the bad out somehow.
And they're happy to take risks.
Oh yeah, with other people's lives and things like that.
Sure.
They tend to be generals. Hey, you dudes, you go out there and attack, and if you retreat, you're going to get shot by the commissars or other people.
Introverted people's ideas are often about reflection, not inspiration. BS.
Well, red decision makers, there's no inspiration there at all. You're going to have to reflect. You notice how he was saying about don't really concern themselves with data. You don't concern yourself with data. Your decisions are going to be, it's guaranteed, they're going to be bad. You can you can take a risk on them, but you're just risking everything on nothing. Yeah, you might luck out. You know, it might be like winning the lottery. Oh, a 1 in a million chance of being right if you don't get the data.
Introverted people think twice before doing anything and spend a lot of time collecting information. Yes,
yeah. And he'd think
Page
too
39.
much time. But
the red, yellow, green, and blue came from Luscher's psychological colors? No, his did not.
Well, he claims that, but he's misapplied them.
Yeah. And we'll talk about the Luscher system.
I've been looking at the Luscher system for almost 40 years now. And this guy doesn't understand much about it. I'm not going to say a thing about it. I don't think he understands much about it.
Okay, red is fire, yellow is air, green is earth, and blue is the sea. Red, task-focused, extrovert. Yellow, relationship-oriented, extrovert. Green, relationship-oriented and introverted. Blue, task-oriented and introverted. Page 54. Red, yellow, innovative, creative, enthusiastic, flexible. Yellow, green's opinion of self is based on what others think of them. Attention seekers. Green, blue, process large amounts of data and evaluate clearly and competently. They tend to underestimate their competence, are loyal and extremely dutiful.
In other words, they're competent. If you underestimate your competence, you're competent, because that's the only way to go. You know, like if you improve that way. If you think you're properly estimating your competence, I'm really competent. You're guaranteed you are incompetent.
It's no problem for them to stay in this same job for years, organized and good listeners. They make sure the tasks are properly finished. The green blues have little patience for their opposites, red yellows, whom they see as frivolous but easy to fool. Page 57. Red blues, hardworking, rational, independent.
Whom they see correctly are, what was that? flippant.
It's frivolous but easy to fool.
The reds and yellows, yeah. It's easy
Arrogant,
for them to fool themselves.
Yes. Arrogant, skeptical, pedantic. 64 greens, lazy? Lazy? What, when they're not doing more of your share of the work? 68 reds, afraid of being used. For what? Their share of the work?
Yeah, they're horrible.
That they don't do. 70 yellows, small kids when stressed. They don't want to feel isolated from the group, ignored, have to do boring work, and don't take public criticism well.
So those are the artsy-shartsy types. Yeah, they're childlike. But reds are childlike. The leadership types, they will throw a tantrum when they feel as though they're not getting their proper respect. In other words, if they're not being obeyed to the letter.
Oh, you'll feel it physically. Green stressors, constant, inexplicable changes, conflict, being forced to the center of attention, too many people, too close, criticism. 75 blue stressors, having your competence questioned when you're the expert. That's their stressor. Well, that's stressful, you know, when you're the expert and somebody else is deciding, making all the decisions, and it's like, oh wow.
They're the deciders.
Yeah.
Who was saying that about 20 years ago? Was it George Bush Jr.?
Made by boss. They get stressed out by that too. Spontaneous decisions made by the boss. Risky behavior, interruptions by colleagues, stupid mistakes made by others. Emotional people talking about personal things. 78, chapter 7, why you definitely want a red boss.
Okay.
Never want a red boss.
No.
Okay. More accidents occur at pedestrian crossings. He was talking about that, and yeah, but I mean, he's putting it as so people should watch out for themselves, and they should. But you have to put some rules on the aggressive people to make them have some responsibility. Because aggressive personalities, they're not going to do it on their own. So, yeah, you have to put the onus on the driver to be responsible for the pedestrian.
He's blaming the victim.
Yeah, it's, anyway. Red bosses will decide something and are task-oriented, objective. Red is ready for battle and always move forward.
They're
never
not
stay
objective.
Still.
When it comes down to their authority, they're not objective in the least. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. When common with a red boss, what am I writing? Get to the final point first. When communicating with a red boss, get to the final point first. Be direct. Red bosses don't want to socialize with you. Yellows can make the most depressing news sound like a fantastic success. Page 91, the actual meaning of the message has only 10% or less of an effect on the recipient. How you present the message, 30%, and the rest is what you look like when you give the message. It took me a long time to figure that out, that no matter how right you are, and how obviously right you are when you give information, people aren't going to hear that. They're not going to hear it no matter how right you are. And it's depressing for somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. But anyway, body language, yellows can seem confident. So a lot of the time, if
they're the artsy-shartsy.
What I say is, like in terms of his color system, blues will tell you the truth that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And yellows will tell you the lie that you'd rather believe.
What?
And yellow wins.
Every time.
And it's really depressing for somebody who's worked really hard and knows the answer, and will never be listened to. But
the yellows always win until the reds get sick of them.
Yeah.
Eventually they get too big for their britches as far as the reds are concerned.
Yeah.
And consider Maxim Gorky.
Well, and we're
he
at a
got
point
poisoned.
where it's going to be, it's too bad, because very soon in our society, nobody's going to win. Our society is, the West is coming close to crumbling. We're going to lose democracy probably in the next 10 years, within the next 10 years, and it's too bad, because we're all going to lose out because of it. Because these ignorant, aggressive personality types
on both sides of the political spectrum.
Both sides. They are so arrogant that their arrogance blinds them to the fact that they are incredibly ignorant. So
their particular
it's
type
like,
of arrogance is pretentiousness.
Yeah, and so they don't realize that they've already lost. I'll talk about that a bit later. Smile at your yellow boss a lot and pretend they're charming. Emphasize mutual interests. Go to them with solutions, not problems. 103. Treat your green boss as your friend. 111. Be very well prepared with a blue boss. Use Excel spreadsheets. No small talk. 126. James and I have a theoretical driving force. Not utilitarian, social, aesthetic. Social are self-sacrificing by nature. Individualistic. Oh boy, what did I write there? Driving force. Power and personal success is important. Traditional driving force, harmony, unity, order, system for life is important. 151, 40 to 50% of our personality's genetic, 40 to 50% environment. Greens shouldn't be silent with red boss. Boss sees it as agreement. Greens are scared of the red boss. And for good reason.
You make sure that you're silent.
Make sure that you're silent.
I'll give an example. This guy's nickname was the boss, actually. The boss. I'll give you a close-up of him. I could show his behind and it'd be the same thing.
The red boss only wants
the
agreement.
boss. Yeah.
So definitely.
Okay, he's red in both senses. He's a commie, or he was. Now he's a corpse, and he only wants agreement. But he's red. He's a boss. That's what this is.
352. Reds take shortcuts to save time. When things go wrong, they blame others. Don't sugarcoat their shortcomings. Tell them that to do it again.
They blame others.
Yellow staff miss details. Don't remember what they've promised and can't find files, papers. Make a bullet list for them to follow.
This guy could find files and papers. He kept them on people.
Due to passivity, avoiding problems. Give concrete examples of shortcomings in a gentle way. Blues ignore the deadline and demand perfection. Well, they should be the ones setting the deadline, shouldn't they? I mean, they are the ones who know when it's finished. So why wouldn't they ignore some arbitrary deadline set by some idiot? Okay, surrounded by lazy employees. Second part of Thomas Erickson's Bad Bosses book. Page 190. Only 10% of all employees can be classified as top performers. 70%, I already gave some of the stuff because it was at the end of the page. My notes are kind of
cramped.
I didn't expect to take this many notes. I expected only a little piece of paper. Anyway, okay. 70%
when you find out so much inadvertent humor, you've got to note it down.
Yeah. Can be considered average performers. 20% are underachievers. Page 195. Imagine you're at a restaurant and overhear your employee talking about you to her family. What would you like to hear? My boss is so clever, competent, positive. Make how you want to be perceived a part of your mission statement. Page 211. Greens don't trust themselves. They look to others to guide direction, exclamation mark. Oh, this is a comment I made. based on a table that's in the book. Yellows don't live in the future. They live in a fiction, striving for unreachable fairy tale lives that are ill-conceived, so will never materialize. That was my comment.
You hear that, you fake left-wing artsy-shartsy types? Your pie in the sky, communist heaven on earth is just that. It's pie in the sky. It's shit pie.
Page 213. Douglas McGregor, 1960, book The Human Side of Enterprise, Theory XY. Theory X, people instinctively are averse to work and try to avoid it. People must be forced, controlled, governed, and threatened with punishment to carry out work. People prefer to be led because they lack ambition and want to avoid responsibility. Well, that would be the aggressive side of the spectrum. Theory Y, people can, under beneficial circumstances, seek and want to take responsibility. People value communication and commitment. People can govern and control their own work. You don't need to control or punish. And that would be the passive side of the spectrum. They're going to work. They're not lazy. Staff can supervise themselves. Theory Y. And I believe that. You get the right people for the job, you don't need a supervisor at all.
Get rid of the supervisors. Yep. But
Page
only by
243.
having a meritocracy you have objectively framed, administered, and marked tests.
243. He compares yellows to children. And I agree. They're like toddlers.
But that's like the kettle calling the pot black.
And so,
because
I mean,
reds are children too.
Yeah, they're like teenagers. So, with yellows being like children, they're that's the kind of creativity they have. It's like ideas from a child, and sometimes that's refreshing.
Yeah.
To have some silly little idea from a child.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
And it kind of gives you. It's kind of charming, to see little children come up with some silly ideas. Anyway.
It's like listening to a lot of Neil Young.
Page 247. Every time you meet with a green employee, slow your pace. Greens try to give you the answer they think you want to hear. No, the Greens are, if you think about it, you actually know this. If you realize that the Greens work really well together, they're really good team workers. Why are they such good team workers? Because they're the master communicators. That's why. They understand body language very well.
They kind of have to. Sometimes there's survival.
Yep.
Depends on it.
And you don't have to slow your pace and take it down 50% and slow it even more. No, you're scaring them. They realize that you're an aggressive asshole and they're scared. Rightfully so, because you're scary.
Yeah, they don't want to get shot
rather
on.
than slowing your pace and treating them like they're stupid, why don't you write them a letter of what you would like from them?
And maybe consider what they'd like from you, like a resignation.
Yeah. Page 254, yellow bosses. Red staff think you behave like a complete idiot. Yeah, well, yellows work well with yellows, but there isn't enough room on the stage for them all, and that's funny because
they always want to. That's what I always say. They want to upstage everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you really think they're master communicators? No, they're master manipulators.
Yeah.
Manipulators. They are selling themselves as whatever they want you to think they are. They're manipulators. They're not master communicators. Anybody who thinks they're a master communicator, they're an idiot. Okay.
Communication's really a two-way street.
Remember that your yellow workers talk with everybody about everything. Greens get along with the yellow boss. 263. Blue employees think their yellow boss doesn't do any proper research and only does a fraction of what they talk about. When blues ask their yellow bosses questions, they find the answers are unintelligible.
Yep.
Blues people love to find that other people have made mistakes
They don't love it.
They don't love it. They wish that
appalled.
other people would apply themselves so that they wouldn't make so many mistakes.
Mistakes are awful. They're not fun.
I'm disappointed in authors when I circle each typo as I read their work. So I don't enjoy it. When I'm reading through a book, I'm circling, I'm like, ugh. Stop making so many mistakes. Or fix them. Page 267. Green boss. Red staff members think you're nice, but your gentle, friendly side is wasted on the reds. Invest that time on other staff members. Don't tell yellow staff regarding... Huh?
It's wasted on the red because the red shouldn't be employed.
No.
Put them on the street.
Yeah, their ideas that their idea won't work or that there's no need for their solution. Since there aren't any problems in Area X. Oh, wait. Oh, don't tell your staff regarding their ideas that their idea won't work or that there's no need for their solution since there aren't any problems in Area X. Okay, yeah, I remember.
Don't tell them that. Just ignore.
Instead, tell them that their idea is interesting and ask how it will work. Tell them that their idea is great and ask what we'll need to carry it out. And it's like, okay, well, if there's nothing required, if this idea, there's no shortcomings in Area X, why are you going to tell them this idea is great and what we will need to do it? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
What that is, what they do in Parliament or in Congress in the United States is, let's do a study of that, which means we're not going to do it.
Let's put a pin in it. You know, that's what I'd say. Let's put a pin in that. It's an interesting idea. And then...
Yeah, exactly right.
Now that you're the boss, your green pals hide among the yellows and blues. Nope, just the yellows. 280, blue boss. Red staff wonders why you take so long and why you slow them down.
The deal is, don't have red staff. Don't employ them.
281, pouring out facts won't work. Details are poison to reds. Reds want to know what to do now. Write down 3 points, 1 line per point. Hold their attention. Yellow staff think you're serious. The blue boss asks follow-up questions from the yellow staff that the yellows can't sell to the blue boss. Blue sees yellow as an administrative meltdown. Ask yellows to write down their ideas on paper. Greens appreciate their blue boss's calmness. They're not stressed or... and they appreciate your knowledge. If blue bosses don't show feelings, uncertainty may arise with the green employees. This may cause them distress. Blue boss and blue staff will get along as long as there's no disagreements. Blue staff members like on information or whatever.
If they're smart, they have a democratic system to take care of disagreement.
Blue staff members like to find their own dead ends, not have them pointed out. 1 follow-up, 2 assess, 3 persevere. And that's what I have for my notes. So, I'm going to
Now you took notes with Erickson. Erickson, if you're watching, are you taking notes?
Yeah, well, I think he is, because I'll talk about that a little bit later. When he put out his copy of Surrounded by Idiots, he put another hardcover out later on, and it has, he corrected some mistakes that he'd made in it. So, I mean, and that's the thing. If you're a red, you rush things out too fast, you make mistakes that you should have fixed before you rushed things out. It wastes a lot of people's time and money.
And money. When you buying your useless book.
Yeah. But anyway, I will spend the rest of the time, which isn't much, filled in with Mary Mary and Run for Your Life. Because I was talking about James Patterson books, and James got excited talking about our dogs. So
Tornado and Popper,
yeah, well,
they're wonderful books.
and honestly, these James Patterson books, they're not nearly as exciting as talking about our dogs. So Mary Mary was an entertaining novel. I don't think the emails were believable. Isn't it easy to find out where emails originate? Snail mail would make more sense, but I suppose the author wanted to speed up the story. Anyhow, this was the most entertaining Patterson novel that I've read so far. I'm not convinced that anyone would commit these murders, but it's just fiction. It helped me get through a couple cold days indoors. And this one was basically, it's a catalog without any pictures or price tags listed. So it's this is just an ad that is strung together with a vague storyline. So I'm going to fill out the rest of this segment talking about the ads, listing off the ads in the pages. An ad for Coors Light on page 22, along with something called Capri Suns. Page 26, Backyardigans, PJs and Jack Daniels. Page 27, Givenchy suit, Rolex Explorer, BMW 720 Li, Vuitton briefcase, Vanity Fair. Page 28, Palm Trio 750 smartphone, Microsoft Task. Page 29, Lincoln Navigator 32, Mercedes SL600 and Range Rover HSE. Vuitton briefcase again, Buttersoft. Page 33, Givenchy suit again and Prada shoes. Chanel peep toe pumps. On page 34, a Bugaboo stroller. Page 36, Brat Stahl, Prada shoes again. Page 41, the brand of children's Tylenol listed, but not the brand of ginger ale. So, and page 43, the brands of OJ and peanut butter and cough syrup are not listed. So he doesn't always put in brand names. So one would imagine that the brand names are only put in when the companies pay to be put into the thing. Page 44, Cap'n Crunch. Page 45, Vicks Children Cough Syrup and Flint's Ear Loop Surgical Masks. Page 47, Casino Sports Watch and Jets Cap. A Mets jersey, Palm Trio, and again on 49. Page 52, Ralph Lauren store. Harry Potter Scenic Game. Page 59, and Polo store. Page 62, Frejus 10-speed, Bianchi bike shorts and Mata top. Page 63, hefty trash bags. Page 64, On Guard lock. Frejus again and again on 67. Page 68, Dodge. Page 6, Dodge van and Polo store. Page 69, Dodge and Happy Meal. Page 60, Polo store. Page 71, Polo store and Navy. Old Navy and the Children's Place. 75, Macy's House 4, Yankee Stadium. 78, Mets jersey times 2, but the brand of box of tissues is not listed. Page 80, Mets jersey. Page 83, the musical Stomp. Page 87, Polo store times. 89, Polo. 91, 21 Club, Mets jersey, Polo store. 94, Tyvek suit. 98, Hell's Kitchen, SMAW. 99, page 100, Mac 9, Coltar 15, M203 grenade launcher, Pottery Barn. 102, 95, Chateau Mouton, Rothschild launcher, Rothschild. 103, Sony Plasma, CNN Ross Abrams. 115 times 116 Chanel number 5, 117 Chevy, 118 times Chevy, 119 times, 123 Rockefeller Center, the Harvard Club, the New York Athletic Club, Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, Tiffany's times 2, and the Zagat Guide. 125 Diesel sunglasses, a Piero Tucci lambskin jacket, graffiti tee,